Hey guys, it's Ryan, and in this video I wanted to show you exactly what we did for Arthur Goodrich in Napa and Sonoma to get him to rank 1 for Luxury Realtor Napa Valley in 4 months. So first off, I wanted to start with some proof. So as you can see here, goodrichgroup.com, Napa Valley Luxury Realtor rank 1. And you'll notice the volume is quite low. Now, compare these 10 searches to people just looking up Napa Valley or best brunch spots in Napa Valley, which is not completely useless to rank for, but you could assume the searchers looking specifically for a luxury realtor in Napa Valley are worth a little bit more than people looking for the best avocado toast. So this is a picture from his SEMrush, which is just an SEO tool. You can see all his actual metrics here. Site traffic, this is not totally accurate. His keywords, and then his actual backlinks as well. And then this is all organic search. So this is from the 4th of May until current day, whenever you're watching this. This might be a little bit outdated. But as you can see here, the site went live pretty much around here. He did have a previous site that was on the same domain. Sorry, not on the same domain. It was on a different domain. So this was when the site was in development. And then this is when we actually started publishing. And as you can see here, his click-through rate is 2% as well. So this isn't just nonsense content that's giving him all these impressions and clicks. This is good, valuable content, 2% click-through rate, especially when a lot of this content is not going to be on page 1, rank 1, 36 average position, which looks really, really bad. But as you rank for more and more keywords, your average position actually goes down. So enough of that. What did we actually achieve? The actual outcomes, because that's the only thing that matters. So first off, we got him to position 1 for the keyword you see here. Napa Valley, luxury realtor, extremely valuable. He got $12 million in new listings, and he closed $4.5 million in sales. Now, was this directly 100% fully attributable to the SEO and the website and the work we've done? Absolutely not. That would be an absolute lie. So, was it partly contributing to? Yes, absolutely. And obviously the great work Arthur does, the experience he has, is by and large the main contributor to this, but this still happened. Okay, so Arthur came to us pretty well established in Napa. Arthur was actually a newer agent that had come from a different career, and he had gotten into real estate as not a retirement plan, but just as something to do in the area. Loved the properties, and he really, really got it. It really clicked early. So then he really started ramping things up, and he's done, I think, over $100 million in his first 3 years, which is quite unheard of for your first 3 years. So he came to us and he'd already spent about $40,000 on, you can see in quotes here, premium WordPress sites. So this was with 2 different providers, which are both great. By the way, I don't like talking bad on anyone. Of course, I won't name any names, but both of these providers are great. I'll be the first one to say it. Their solutions are great for a certain type of agent. But when you are dealing with true luxury, 10, 15, $20 million properties, you have to really, really be that top 0.1% to attract the right people. And how you show up online is going to be a big part of that, because even these, $10, $20 million buyers and sellers, they're still researching the agents online. They're still doing a ton of research online first. And there was some data published on this. It's something like 97% or something like that. Pretty much everyone is looking you up first before they do any sort of reach out, before any phone calls or emails or anything. So his previous site was pretty cluttered. It looked nice, a lot of good images, but it was really, really cluttered. It loaded very, very slow. There was kind of no clear path for buyers or sellers. It was just a whole lot of everything. And it broke pretty frequently. I remember him saying that it was down every now and again, and it would take a while to come back up. And the main thing, it was just slow. It would just take so long to load. You'd go onto a pretty media heavy page, like a listing page, and the images just would not load, and it was just a nightmare for him. And ultimately he just kind of gave up, and that's when he came to us. So first thing is, pretty by itself, good looking website by itself doesn't do anything if no one sees it. I'm sure there's tons of fantastically beautiful sites out there, and no one ever sees them except for whoever made them or whoever owns them. And these sites make zero money. There's no commission, there's no leads, there's absolutely nothing coming from these sites other than you might show your friends and say, hey, look at my website. Look how pretty it is. But at the end of the day, your website should be a business tool that actually generates revenue for you, not just a nice to have, So that's exactly what we did. We built a true business tool for Arthur with our custom architecture, our own backend. It wasn't WordPress or any templated anything. And this site is remarkably quick. So when people are in a rush, whether on mobile, tablet, if they're on airport Wi-Fi or anything like that, the site is still working absolutely as intended. And it's a true one of one. So even if someone wanted to copy the site, they couldn't emulate it because it's custom developed, custom coded. Everything is one-on-one bespoke to Arthur and how he envisaged what he wanted for his site. And another thing, the IDX, the MLS, the virtual tours, these are kind of things everyone has, but just the overall experience, how it feels, how immersive it is, and how seamless it is to navigate as well, the kind of very obvious journey that the site takes you on. It's very intentional as well, whether you're a buyer or a seller, whether you're researching the area, depending on where you are in that funnel, top, mid, or bottom, the site can guide you to the right info or take the right action. And ultimately, this is what actually generates business. It gets people into the funnel, the top of funnel. They're aware of you, they're aware of the area, they're researching, and then it brings them down to the bottom of funnel where you're actually having a conversation. This person becomes a prospect, a true prospect, a qualified prospect, and then the reins are kind of handed over to you, and you do what you do best. So step 2 is content. So there was some good content on the previous site, but you could tell it was just content written for the sake of content. It wasn't very directed, it wasn't very targeted, and it wasn't high intent content. So what does that mean? So when people are researching, whether they're buying or selling, or they're researching an area, they're researching an agent, there's a certain way they search. They're looking for specifics on the areas, specific types of regulations, whether it be tax codes, insurance, anything like that. And they want to be handed this info pretty easily as well, or know that they can call you or email you, for example, and you can send them all of the info and it's correct, it's up to date, and you're not going to get, you're not following, laws or rules or following regulations from, 2021 or anything like that. So one example of this is we actually published an article on a resort that wasn't even built yet. It was in development for about 10 years, I think. And he was actually getting people calling him from Connecticut. I remember this specifically because he texted me or he called me up and he said, I'm getting people calling me all over the place from Connecticut, from wherever. And they're asking me to buy a home or, a section of land or, whatever it is on this resort. And it wasn't even built yet. I'm pretty sure it was just renders. I don't think there was a whole lot available online. But with our strategy, with the way we go about things and how we guide the user through the site, he was getting tons and tons of traffic and tons of engaged, high intent traffic as well. People actually looking to make a decision on this resort. So that is the type of leverage that this has. You're not just posting, again, best brunch spot in Napa or Sonoma where, people aren't really going to call you and buy a house just because you told them the best eggs Benedict or anything like that. This is the true type of content that actually puts money in your pocket. Essentially, this earns you commission. So, and then next up, the actual links. So this is how you actually gain authority online, your actual website. So this is how Google trusts you. This is how ChatGPT trusts you. All your AIs, your Perplexity, your Claude, all this stuff. This is how it trusts you. If you have a ton of other sites who are also very reputable and have good authority and obviously are real businesses linking to your website, Google and ChatGPT and all the likes are going to treat your website like similar to those sites. So it's going to be very, very easy to rank for your keywords. It can be easier to rank for the more difficult keywords as well. And this is kind of how you actually beat your competitors, because everyone can do content, especially now with AI. Content, just writing content is very, very easy. But then writing the correct content with the correct structure and layout, and then optimizing it for SEO and ChatGPT, and then as well writing content specific for the user first and then optimizing for search. But then as well, the links. So Arthur's, a couple of his properties have been featured already in Wall Street Journal, Robb Report, and Wine Enthusiast, and a couple of other niche local luxury publications. And then obviously Wall Street Journal is not local, or it's pretty broad, but it's a huge domain, huge authority. So what we do is we reverse search his properties. We use one of our tools internal, find basically anywhere that his properties or anything that he's somewhat related to has been published online already. And those are your easy links. So we reach out to them. Hi, this listing, client of mine, Arthur, is the selling agent or the buying agent on this property. Mind if you link to him on this anchor text? So whether it be, just his name, or, something more specific like, 123 Sharp Road, whatever. This really boosts how easy it's going to be to rank and ultimately outrank your competitors. So getting these links from these large publications, but then as well, the Chamber of Commerce for your local area, any clubs or anything like that, any sponsors, affiliates, or networks, any, say, insurance or landscaping or anything like that, interior design, actually having that network and getting a link from them in exchange for a link to them, this really boosts you a whole lot. And then as well, all of your profiles, your Zillow profile, your brokerage profile, your realtor profile, everywhere, getting a profile in the first place if you don't have one, and just making sure the name, address, and phone is all consistent to the letter, perfect. And then just making sure you're actually putting a link to your site as well. Now, some of these links won't be, there's a follow link and a no follow link. Don't really worry about that. That's not really a big deal. One carries a bit more SEO juice than the other, but you don't really need to worry about that. This is just, again, more authority for your site and more likely that you're going to show up in search for whatever you're trying to rank for, and then as well in ChatGPT and the likes. So across the 4 months, we garnered about 100 backlinks total. So this is across your publications, your local backlinks, and then all of the profiles, the citations, the business directories, etc. And then some people are still buying links on Fiverr. I don't even know who actually does this anymore. Maybe if you're new to SEO and you're looking to DIY it, maybe this is something you've done in the past, but this is really not a good idea. This used to really penalize you. You used to actually knock yourself down a ton in Google, which can still happen, but they've actually toned this back. So it's not that this will completely destroy your website, but it'll definitely waste your money, even if it's just $5. So this was the actual timeline for what we did. So month 1, we had the site live, completely redesigned, complete with our own backend, our proprietary infrastructure for everything. So that's your speed and lead capture and everything like that. And then we started our link building, and we started actually posting authority content that people actually want to read and attracts buyers, and then they offer up their contact info for. So if there's a specific market report, neighborhood guide, or anything super specific that we've put a lot of work into, a cornerstone piece or anything like that, we exchange that for name, email, phone. Phone being the main one here. Email, people can just ignore you, but phone being direct contact. So that's a pretty good one. And then obviously we were climbing the ranks, and then it was month 4. He actually ranked number 1 for Luxury Realtor Napa Valley. And then he's actually outranking one of his number 1 competitors that he first mentioned to us on our very first call, who he needs to beat. And he had these, he had these off the top of his head. He knew exactly who was where in the rankings, who he needed to beat, and he knew them top to bottom. He ranked them himself, so he beats his number 1 competitor on not every search, not every query, but a good amount. And to do that in 4 months is pretty good as well. So, like we said, we ran over the numbers before, but 3 new listings, $12 million in total, 4.5 million in closed sales. And, you know, this wasn't because we had 1 million people on his site. This was because we had the right people on his site. And it's the same with everything. If you have 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers or followers or anything, but no one's buying from you, you would be better off with, 100 true fans or, 100 true ICP clients in your audience than, millions of people who are unqualified. They're never going to buy. They're never going to interact with you. So, like I said, it's about attracting the right people and speaking to the right people as well. So why does this actually work? Why is this actually different from SEO in general? Because the luxury life cycle, the sales cycle is very long. There's a lot of consideration. There's a lot of pre-research that goes in as well. So the content, the visuals, how the site feels, and how you show up online is even more important. It needs to be very much seamless. Like there's not a single pixel out of place. So that's why this works. If you're a plumber or roofer, you can show up for a ton of stuff. You might not have to have everything absolutely perfect and you can generate a ton of business. But when you're maybe selling 5 or 10 to $20 million homes a year, each visitor to your site really, really matters because that could be your next deal. So you need to make sure that it's perfect for everyone, and everyone, well, the right people, they all have content that they feel is talking directly to them, is directly for them. So that's exactly what we did. And then another thing that actually Arthur really liked was we actually only work with one client per area. So whether it's an agent, a small team of agents, or a full office, just because ultimately SEO it's a zero-sum game. If you go up one rank, someone has to go down one rank. So if you are rank 1 for certain terms, it means someone else is not and cannot be rank 1. So it really makes no sense to have a ton of clients in the same area. So Arthur currently occupies Napa and Sonoma, so those are completely off limits. So if you are from Napa or Sonoma, or that's where you operate from, I do apologize. So yeah, there's 3 options here. So you can try and figure this out yourself, which could go really good, especially with AI. You probably get a decent chunk of the way there, but it'll take maybe 6 to 12 months of just kind of learning the ropes, and maybe the progress will be a bit slower. Option 2 is hire just a generic SEO agency, which can definitely get good results, but not specific to real estate or luxury real estate, and are more mass market. And then option 3 is obviously work with us. And of course, I'm biased, but this is the way you're going to get this done as quick as possible with as little friction and as little frustration as possible. So the decision is yours. And one thing I will say is SEO is a luxury channel in and of itself, in that it's a luxury to market with SEO. If you need SEO to work straight away, month 1, month 2, definitely do not do it. SEO is, however, the best marketing channel for long sales cycles or higher deal amounts. So whether that be large B2B deals or commercial deals, or obviously in this case, high-end real estate, because since the sales cycle and the research phase is so long and drawn out, it really gives you as much surface area for luck and opportunity to happen as possible. So I will leave you with that. Obviously, if you're not ready to invest, again, it's not going to be the channel for you. It is an expensive channel, and doubly so in a more competitive market. If that is you, if you're in LA or Beverly Hills, it's not going to cost you the same as ranking in a small town somewhere. There's going to be a lot of competition and a lot of other agents pumping a lot of money into this channel because, like I said before, the top 1% know it is about visibility and opening yourself up to those opportunities. So yeah, if this sounds like it would make sense, or if you want to know a little bit more about what we do in general, I suppose you can either check out our website or you can check out another video that I'll link down below as well. And hopefully we'll chat soon.